Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is RJ. I used to record videos of myself reviewing Disney Channel original movies, or DCOMs as they are often called, for about a month and a half, a year ago. But then suddenly I just stopped due to technical difficulties. My phone stopped having enough storage to be able to record those. But I would like to start doing them again. And what better a time than a time in which I could commercialize it? Everyone's watching Halloween Town. Everyone's watching Twitches. I'm sure there's people watching the other ones. Let's do this thing. Let's candy corn it up. Yeah. This is Christmas themed hand sanitizer, by the way. These are apple pie flavored candy corns. I'm not gonna lie to you, they taste bad. I'm going to be going from best to worst because I find it funny to descend into madness. Starting with number 1, which was very neck and neck with number 2. So much so that I almost made them a tie. I almost did it, but I think that I do like this one just a little bit better. And that would be Halloween Town 2, The Revenge of Calabar. The story has a little more space to move around than the original. I feel like there's a lot more fun you can have with the setup of saving Halloween Town without the mom being a constant nuisance on the plot, because one of the major conflicts is Marnie won't be able to do magic. And there is a conflict like that in which Marnie's grandmother wants her to spend a year in Halloween Town learning magic, but it's less prevalent and frankly less annoying. Also, I thought it was cool that it's equal parts Halloween Town and equal parts Real World. That's a novelty unique to this movie above all of the other Halloween Town movies. I rate this one 13 Halloween novelty socks out of 13. Second up is Halloween Town. This one is a classic. Everyone has seen it. I think that I haven't even watched it just for the first time. I don't remember it. I think I've just watched this every Halloween since I've been alive, which is a decision that my mother has expressed regretting because we watch it not only once a year, but multiple times every year. And she doesn't like Halloween Town. I rate this one 12.5 handbags that get comically more pet-like movie by movie out of 13. Number 3 is Twitches. It's impossible not to compare this movie to Sister Sister because it is kind of just finding a long-lost twin, getting to know them with the element of magic added in. I feel like these movies set me up for thinking that I was going to have a twin that was just going to appear one day and I had like half a medallion that we could connect. But in my adult life, I've discovered that more of the movies that I watch now set me up for being prepared to anyone that shows up mysteriously in my life who looks like me is going to try to kill me. So if you're my double, hit me up. We can try to kill each other or we can become lifelong besties. Number 4. My Babysitter's a Vampire. This movie is like terrifyingly and surprisingly rewatchable. I know it originally aired on Teletoon, which is not a network we have here in the US, so it aired on Disney Channel instead. But it's my list. I love this movie. I'm not sure if it's still on Netflix or not, but if it is, like, it's definitely worth a watch. It's actually a pilot to the series My Babysitter's a Vampire, which was canceled, which is why I have depression. I rate this one 10 Twilight parodies that I actually wanted to watch out of 13. Number 4? 5? Twitches 2. When I was a kid, I really wanted there to be a third installment of this series, but looking back, I think I'm glad that it is a duology. Also, it's fitting because they are twins. The only thing that hinders this movie's ability to be a little bit higher on the list is that It really doesn't spend a lot of time on the dynamic between the two sisters, which was one of the biggest strengths of the original. Like, if you meet someone, I'm glad that they didn't just delve straight into the chosen one crap. Like, they got to know each other, they spent the afternoon together, they played around with their powers. That's not an element that is completely missing from Twitches 2, but it certainly is not there. Also, no Allie and AJ, which also hinders it. 9 shadows in my room that I pretended were the darkness when I was a kid because I wanted to be the Twitches out of 13. Number whatever it is, I've already lost count. Don't Look Under the Bed is a movie that all of my friends considered the scariest of the Halloween Disney DCOMs. I was never scared of it. I don't understand why people are scared of it. Like, I watched it once a year and I thought it was great. It's a very creative movie. The stakes are a lot higher than your regular run-of-the-mill Disney DCOM would be. Disney DCOM is redundant. I think that kids were fascinated with it because it is so much of that. Kids love being scared. Like, that's the reason why Return to Oz is such a cult phenomenon, because kids love being scared. But it never scared me. I just thought it was cool. And then I rewatched it yesterday, and I still think that it's cool. I just, because I am an adult, understand even less why it is considered scary. I rate this one 9 nightmares my friends had about this movie while I was busy having nightmares about the Raggedy Android episodes of My Life as a Teenage Robot out of 13. Girl vs. Monster. This movie kind of freaking rules as new DCOMs go. I think that the plot is very interesting. Like, it's very cool to see the lesson be something as simple but as unique as fear is not something you can just get rid of. It's a part of you. You have to just learn to deal with it and cope. The expectation that your fears will just go away is usually unrealistic, except for childhood fears. And even then, I am afraid to look under my bed at night, unironically. But, serial killers, that's a rational fear. I think Olivia Holt is a terrific actress. The tie-in song is actually kind of a jam. It's not as nostalgic because I was kind of an older kid when this movie came out. This movie came out 8 years ago. I can't believe that. Now my youngest brother, is older than the main character. Also, and I'm just mentioning this really quick, I think that the tradition is that they'll tell their kids that they're monster hunters on their 16th birthday. But given how unsafe it seems to be to not be informed, I think that's bad parenting. So we're going to go with 8 brutally murdered monsters out of 13. Middle ground. These are movies that I don't feel nostalgically attached enough to properly rate without feeling like it's biased, because they're all bad, but some of them have a nostalgic edge, which is... I can appreciate a good bad movie, but I don't want to label these bad movies just because I don't have nostalgia for them. So we're giving all of these fair middle reviews. Under Wraps. I actually got sent to my room in the middle of watching this one, and I haven't finished it in my entire life. Like, the first time I got sent to my room, I don't remember why. And this was before DVR, or at least before we had DVR. So we couldn't record it and watch it later. And I didn't know about getting illegitimate copies either. So if you just didn't catch it, you didn't catch it. And then I somehow managed to avoid it for the rest of my life. Phantom of the Megaplex. I actually got mad at this movie because it wasn't enough like Phantom of the Opera. I was a little Andrew Lloyd Webber geek when I was a kid. Scream Team. I have never heard of this movie. I have asked a couple of my friends. They have also never heard of this movie. I can't seem to find adequate information ever anywhere about people's opinions on this movie, but it's obscure, so as a hipster, I have to give it a rating. All of those are 7 candy corns out of 10. Now, the bad ones. I want to make it clear that I still enjoy quite a few of these, I just not as much. Halloween Town High. The likability of the characters is questionable, especially when one of them is willing to wager the magic of her entire family, which I get she didn't do on purpose, but the villains want to let her off the hook in the middle of the movie. And she says no. That kind of removes my sympathy for your cause, Marnie. Also, the younger brother, Dylan, has a crush on this girl who he meets when she's in a disguise as a human, because this movie does not take place in Halloween Town, which is another bone to pick I have with it. It's false advertising. And he's surprised when she turns out to be and look like a monster. And not even like a super gross monster, which would also be vain and stupid considering that he is a geek. But she looks like a Monster High doll. 6 grotesquely hideous Monster High dolls after 13. I don't know why I held up 2 fingers. Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. This movie is the reason that I am obsessed with vampires. I watched it every year when I was a kid, and then one year I just stopped. It doesn't hold up as well as I was expecting it to or would have liked it to, but it's still a solid good time. It makes me feel like I'm getting ready to go trick-or-treating. 5 fancy pairs of things that I've gazed upon in spirit Halloween. You know, the ones you boil them and then you put them, they mold directly to your teeth. Out of 13. Invisible Sister is one I am sure I have watched multiple times, and I have enjoyed not even one of those times. I think what is happening is I've gotten too old to appreciate ones I'm not nostalgically predisposed to like. But I feel like this one is just questionable. I'm sorry, everyone who participated in that movie. The actresses who I'm sure I've heard the names of, but whose names escape me. I'm giving this one 4 David Spade performances as the Invisible Man in Hotel Transylvania out of 13. Return to Halloween Town. I didn't like this one as a kid. I used to think that it was just because they recast the main actress, which is a shame. But no, this one is not great. The plot is kind of a little bit dull. I don't like magic settings where characters aren't allowed to use the magic, because that makes for a boring setup. That's actually why I don't like Wizards of Waverly Place as much as I used to. It's just, why do you have magic powers if you're not going to use them? It's useless. I do like Lucas Grabeel. I feel like he's... Sorry, I just got a message. I feel like the lead actress in this one is doing a great job, and the costumes are very cool, and the setting is very cool. Like, it's obviously CG, all of it, but it still looks nice. It looks like nice, expensive, early 2000s CG in at least the threshold of Disney movies. But that's pretty much the nicest thing that I can say about it. There's probably some reason that this movie is problematic. If you would like to tell me what it is, so I have a logical justification to hate this movie, because that's a great way to look at things. No, it isn't. I'm being sarcastic. Anyway, I thought that this movie might get better with age, since I've stopped being so petty about the recasting of Marnie. But getting better with age is a quality associated with wine, which I also do not like. 3 recast leads out of 13. The Swap. This one is one of the most recent ones. It's basically a Freaky Friday setup, except for instead of it being a mother and a daughter, it's just a boy and a girl. And it's about as boring and childhood obvious lesson sitcom trope as you can think of. I feel like we're gonna get about a dozen more of these movies before we realize it's a stupid plot, but I'm giving this one Jamie Lee Curtis out of 13. Please join me next week as I talk about some of my favorite Halloween specials that I've watched every year that aren't DCOMs. But I'm back Mondays and Thursdays, babies. Thank you so much for watching. I'm the Bad Movie Enthusiast.